Welcome to You Matter in Business. Your hosts today are Ariel, me, and Miriam.
Your heart, your brand story, and your success because you matter in your business. Hi, and we're back with You Matter in Business. Hi, Ariel. How are you today?
Good. Hi.
Awesome. So today, this is one that we've been talking about for a couple of weeks because we've been telling people that we're going to talk about self-doubt. So this is one of the subjects that I talk to my clients about. Do you know what? I'm pretty much going to put my neck on the line here and say every single one of my clients, I've talked about self-doubt with them. So I think this is a universal thing. I hope it's a universal. Well, I don't hope it's a universal. I know it's a universal thing. I think that all of us at some point in our lives suffer from some form of self-doubt. Sometimes it might manifest itself as the imposter syndrome, which is where you feel that you are a fraud and that you're going to get found out. Sometimes it's just that negative self-talk, that inner critic, and sometimes it's lack of confidence. But I believe that it is something that everybody, men and women, young and old, do suffer from at some point. So, Ariel, putting you on the spot, is that something that you suffer from, do you think?
I think that everyone has it at different points in their life. I think whenever you do something new, there
Uh-huh.
is a part of you, a fear factor that shows up and starts saying, why are you going to do that? What are you doing? You can't do that. All of those things kind of rise. All
Mm-hmm.
those voices that you shut up and put in the trash can from a couple weeks ago, you that self-doubt comes in because it's a
Mm-hmm.
fear. I'm
The
afraid.
fear. Yeah.
Right.
That it's that
So,
monster, that fear, that monster that sits on your shoulders.
yeah, and the imposter thing is kind of interesting because no one does anything well when they first start. No one. But that doesn't stop them. That's the key. It doesn't stop them from keep learning, keep doing. Doctors are still practicing, right?
I love the fact that they call it a doctor's practice. So when are they actually going to get good at it? And I'm joking.
Never.
That's not. I know it's not. I apologize to doctors for saying that out there. It's a family joke. We've got lots of doctors in our family, and we always say when you're going to, stop
Yeah.
practicing and do it properly.
And I think that if we allow that, mm, all of us have been stopped at some point by something. And it usually is an internal thing. I can't do this. I don't deserve this. All those things, right? So when we
Can you
have
think of a
those,
time? Can you think of a time when it caused you to miss out on an opportunity, or that you didn't do something that you regretted not doing as a result of that negative self-talk or that fear of getting it wrong?
I think in my 20s, I was very paralyzed by that. And I do mean paralyzed. I mean, I wouldn't make moves. I was afraid to do anything. And I was also attached to somebody who kept me there, who liked me there, who
Mm-hmm.
wanted me to be totally dependent on him. So he perpetuated it, he fed it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So w- at one point, you realize, that it's no longer serving you to feel that way. So
Mm-hmm.
you better start figuring it out because yeah, I don't know at what point you do that in life. I think I was about 28 when it started to kind of flip, but you know, there was a lot of things I tried that I didn't push through because of all those fears. I didn't reach out in certain aspects because of those fears. So there's lots of things that, at times of your life that you say no to something when you want to say yes. Just like we talked about earlier about saying yes, saying no when you should. Well, you know what I mean. It's got all muddled up in my head.
That's all right. I know what you mean. So is there a particular technique that you use to quell that inner critic, to stop it from overwhelming you?
I think for me, it was learning how to deal with the emotion of fear
Uh-huh.
because the emotion of fear to me was the basis of my self-doubt. Being afraid to succeed. I was very afraid to succeed. That sounds funny, but I was. I didn't think I deserved it. And there's a million other things. But so it was fear that was keeping me in that self-doubt. And I grew up with a, what is it called? Dyslexia. So, and they didn't figure it out until I was about in 6th grade, I think, is when they actually figured out that's why I was slower.
Okay.
So I was slower, right? So at that point, it was a little too late. Well, it wasn't too late, but I thought I'm just stupid. My self definition was I wasn't smart because I had this learning disorder that meant I needed to be taught different.
Mm-hmm.
Once I was taught different, I was extremely intelligent. I just didn't know that. Took me till I got to college to figure that out.
Yeah.
And when I was actually getting A's on everything, people were like, "What?" So, you surprise yourself sometimes when you push through your fears
Yeah.
and you
But
go,
there's so many different types of fear as well. There's fear of failure, there's fear of success, there's fear of upsetting people, there's loads of different types of fear. So when I'm talking to my clients about self-doubt, because they all suffer from it, obviously I listen to them and find out exactly what's holding them back. And for some of them it's fear, like you. Some of them it's that just lack of confidence and lack of self-esteem. So the way that I talk about it is, so first of all, recognize it. And I think that's really important. And that's really important in so many things
yes,
about self-development, is to recognize that it's happening in the first place. And then question it. So are those thoughts that you're having in the head, that's running around in your head, are they real? Are they helpful? And if the answer to those two questions is no, then you need to call it out. And quite often I get them to actually name it. So like give those negative self-thoughts an actual name. I don't know what it they have to choose it. But Colin or Clive or some name that they can visualize and can actually give it a persona. So those are those negative self-talk things. And then you can reframe it. So where it says, you can't do that, you're no good, you're just not good enough to be able to do that, all those thoughts that go on. So instead of saying, I can't, say, I can't yet, or I'm learning to. So you can just change it just slightly to reframe those really bad negative self-talk, that self-doubt. Just change it, give me another one and I'll try and reframe it for you.
well, I can't also can become I will,
Yeah, yeah,
so it's just a matter of, it takes that's like the secondary leap, right? From I just need to learn to,
I
I'm
will.
going to.
Yeah.
I will create my life. I will create joy. I will create happiness, right? So
Mhm.
it becomes something that I can do rather than
So you
something
flip
that,
it from a negative to a
right, right.
positive.
Mm-hmm.
So I will fail at that. Or do you know what? I'm going to do the very best that I can. And I'm going to learn from it, because the flip side of failure is that you actually learn from it. We all fail at things, we all get things wrong. But actually, if you turn that into a learning experience, if you work out what went wrong or why you didn't do as well as you could have done, that learning experience, actually, you grow from that failure. So failure is important. We would never get anywhere in life if we didn't fail occasionally. And people that achieve huge things, Jeff Bezos or, any of these, Elon
Thomas
Musk, even.
Edison, how many light bulbs did he make before he got
Exactly.
one
All
that
of these,
worked? Yeah,
exactly. And
100%.
all of these things that we remember, that one thing, that one electric car or that SpaceX that went up into space, or how many things in the background went wrong before they did that, and most of the time we don't see them, most of the time we don't remember them. There's a few inventions that I'm sure all of us could come up with that were complete catastrophic disasters, but most of the time all we see is the successes. But how many things have they mucked up in the background? How many things didn't work? How many businesses have they started up beforehand that just didn't work? And you don't see those. But without those learning opportunities, without those building blocks, they wouldn't get to where they were. So it's really important to actually fail, but learn from it. So, that's that negative self-doubt. Well, okay, so you are going to mess up. Does it matter? As long as you're not hurting anybody, then, as you can just build things up again and learn from it. So that's a really important thing. That's how you can reframe it.
I think one of the things that's helped me was the concept of life is a journey. A
Hmm.
lot of times, you grow up and you think that when I'm an adult, I'm gonna get there, whatever that meant, right? You're an adult and you're like, I still can't figure it out. Um,
Yeah.
but for me, it's more like when I reframed it to a journey, it made more sense, and I could put things in their place. So if I'm gonna drive from Florida to California and I have a flat tire in Texas, am I gonna go back to Florida, fix it?
No.
No, I'm gonna keep driving. I'm gonna fix it, solve the problem, work on it, learn from it, maybe make sure my spare tire has air next time. And then I'm gonna keep going, right? And that's more of a journey mentality rather than a achievement mentality. It's if I
Hmm.
achieve it, then I have it. Now what? I think one of the saddest things I ever saw, and this may sound totally off topic, but to me, it was very sad. There was a gymnast in the 70s, I think, who was like 15, 16 years old, and she won the gold medal, big deal. And then I saw her when she was about 25 years old give a fitness motivation speech. And I watched her go back to that moment when she was like 13 when she won that gold and talked about how, and in my mind what I saw was a woman who was living back there and was had attained everything she was trying to get at 13. What about the rest of her life? Her motivation to me was almost more sad than anything because it wasn't about what she's doing now and how it was about what she did when she was 13 years old.
Yeah.
And here she is, 10 years later and more than that.
Nothing to work for because she'd already achieved the
All she
top
could
of the
do is
scale.
go speak and tell everybody how great it is. And it's like, to me, that was a sad thing. So it was a piece of the puzzle that I put together to create that journey mentality where, so you stub your toe. You don't stop, right? You just keep going. You lick you let something heal if it's broke and you keep going. So to me,
Yeah.
that's been a help for overcoming that self-doubt and pushing through it.
So talk to me about you as a photographer. I mean, you work with women all the time in doing something which most of us absolutely hate, which is having our photographs taken. So how does self-doubt manifest itself in front of the camera, and how do you help your clients to overcome it?
I think the self-doubt really manifests itself before they actually book the photo shoot. Which is one of the reasons why, in reality, I have to have a conversation with people about what they need before I can even begin to tell them, what's the plan to help them. S- So during that first initial phone call, we talk about some of those things. If they're afraid or if they're hesitant or if they're most of us, especially as we age, we don't have our colors gone in our hair, the face is falling off. The hips are
You're
wider
going to
than you
spend time.
want. I mean, there's just a whole list of things why I don't want to be in front of a camera. But when you have somebody who's sitting there and they're saying all that to you, and you are encouraging them because they know they need it. They know they need it because they need to have marketing material. They need to be part of their company base structure, right? So they know they need it.
Particularly when they are the brand.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why it's personal, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, a lot of people don't understand that. But the so there's a lot of, because I know those feelings, I've been there. I still have some of those feelings because I'm not, you know, externally what I would like to be. I'm trying to get the two to align and I'm working on it. So see, I know they're out of balance, so I'm going to work on it, right? I could say I give up and I'm just going to go sit on the couch and eat Twinkies, but I'm not. I'm going to fight whatever is going on and I'm going to win. But
That's good.
with other women, you really have to kind of not hold their hand, but you have to help them see their own strength. I think is a better way of putting it. Because and their own beauty.
Yeah.
And you have to show that you see them,
Hmm.
which is I think something that I do in the process.
Yeah.
I see the value of the woman and now I know how to pull the value out. in a
Yeah.
photograph, right? So I look for her value. If she doesn't see it, I'm still looking for it. So I'm looking for all those things. And then I can pull it out with a camera.
Yeah.
Like your twinkle in your eyes. Oh my God.
I love that way that you do that though. You almost capture that inner self in that moment where they aren't posing. They're doing something else. They're thinking about something else. They're messing around and in that instant, in that
That's
flash.
the real moment. It's a funny thing because often what happens, I don't know if I should give you my trade secret, but mm, photographers will get this. But often when you have somebody, especially who's not a model or something, and they're posing and they're awkward and they don't feel comfortable, and then you say something funny or whatever, it's the moment after they pose. It's not the moment they're posing. You might still shoot while they're at that moment because why not, right? But the best pictures are those ones in between.
Yeah, I've got a fantastic picture of me wearing a pair of that you took, wearing just a pair of green trousers, and I'm sat. I've got one where I'm posed, and then literally it must have been like the next second after I'd stopped posing, and I'm laughing, and I'm just so relaxed, and it's just a massive smile across my face, and that is the photograph that I have used more than anything else in the photographs that you've taken of me. It's that one where I'm just, being
You're
myself.
you.
I'm just being, yeah. And it tells such a much greater story when I'm relaxed and when I haven't got any thoughts about, what are people going to think about me in this photograph? What happens if they think I'm ugly? What happens if they think I'm fat? What happens if my hair looks ridiculous? What, those kind of, things. Oh, my trousers don't match my top, or all those kind of self-doubt things that happen in photographs. My lipstick's not on properly, or my makeup's rubbish, or but it's that one where I'm not even thinking about any of those things. And then that's where it's me, and you captured it perfectly. And it's the one I've used most. So I hope you do that for everybody. Okay, so
Hard to.
so just to round this one up then, tell me, do you think there's ever a time when that inner critic can be useful? And do you think it could ever make us stronger?
I believe the answer to that question is yes. And I will tell you why.
It's a really rubbish podcast answer if you just say yes.
Well, I'm going to tell you why I say yes. Because if you just leave with yes, you'll think I'm nuts and be done with me. But there's a really good reason I say that. Now, in this might apply more to those who have self-doubt because of fears.
Okay.
So I do recognize that different types of fear can cause different issues. But for somebody who is afraid, the self-doubt comes from fear, the inner critic is telling you that to be cautious. That's what fear is. It's a response mechanism to keep us safe. So we respond with fear. So when that emotion comes up, I now pay attention. I'm alert. Just like when the fire alarms go off in your house, you're like,
Fight
where
and
the heck
flight.
is the smoke? You don't necessarily fly, but you look. And then you respond based on the answer, not based on your fear. You don't run out of the house and it was just a bug in front of the thing and you're out there for 3 hours cold. You when you recognize what fear is and what its job is, why do we have it? It has a purpose. Then it becomes a tool for you to use and make better choices. So if the emotion comes up, I now can have a conversation about why that emotion is there. Is it real?
Is it real?
Is it something I can work with? Is it really am I really in danger? And I loved there was a book called, and I think I mentioned it before, but Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. But one of the things that she literally taught me to do, and I do to this day, was ask yourself the what ifs. And the answer will always be the same. The what if I fall on my face? What if I lose all my money? What if I succeed? What if, what ifs can get in our way? But the answer always is
Go on.
you'll handle it because that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
When something happens, we may not like it, we might cry through it, but we will get on the other side. Life
Mhm.
has proven that to us. So,
And I think you're absolutely right. Every time we have that self-doubt, and every time we name it, call it out, question it, give it some evidence to the contrary, and reframe it, you can then look back on that and use that as a building block, and use that as I got over that last time. You've said that to me before, and I got over it. I did it anyway, and I succeeded. So it makes us more resilient. It makes us. My mum always used to say, "The bumps are what you grow on," and I fully embrace that. The tough times, the things that we find hardest, are often the things that make us more strong, make us better human beings, make us more successful.
it also
So,
gives us that script
mhm,
that's coming from us. So we talked about value and other things a couple weeks ago, but when you have gotten through and then gotten through and you are still core value you, those challenges did not make you, and you still have your integrity, you still have your sense of what is valuable, right? Those core things. When
yeah,
you've done all that and you're there, you the next time it hits you or a challenge comes, it becomes easier and easier and easier to know you can handle it.
yeah,
So yourself, if an external person is saying, "Oh, you can't do that. You can't do that." You what? I know I can. If I want to, I can. I mean, can I go to the moon? Probably, but I don't want to. But
no, me neither. But there are people that want to. That's great.
can I change the
Also,
color of my skin? No.
no,
So I mean, you got to be reasonable with this, but there is a reframing of the way you see yourself and your own abilities that makes you more resilient to the external negative talk. Because I think the external negative talk is why we have the internal negative talk.
yeah, largely.
Yeah. And that's a matter of learning to no, I did do this. I did succeed. I did accomplish that. So don't you tell me, no, got a little attitude there.
So, in conclusion, embrace the self-doubt.
Um, Embrace the fear
Okay, I like it. Embrace the fear
and do it anyway.
and do it anyway.
You got to have the do it anyway part. Yeah. Obviously don't jump off a cliff because you think it's smart. I mean, we're intelligent women. We don't need to be doing stuff like that.
Definitely not. Awesome. Thanks,
Awesome.
everyone. It was great.
And we have coach coming. We had said a while back.
Ooh,
Yeah, we
I'm
do have
looking
another
forward.
coach coming. So,
He's a business coach, and he's going to have a lot to teach us. So I'm really looking forward to talking to him. So that's next week. Brilliant.
all right. And
See you
don't
soon.
forget
Oh,
about signing up for our stuff.
retreats and workshops from the 7th of January.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
this
and
one will
ones that
air
we brought
probably
in.
after, so there'll be
Yeah,
one in April. The
April.
website tells you where,
1st of April.
because at one a quarter. So
Yeah,
we're gonna have fun this year. We're gonna go on a path of success.
looking forward
We're
to it.
going to thrive in
In
25.
25.
All right.
See you next episode. After all, it is your brand, your story, and your success. Because Ariel and I know you matter in your business.
Thank you for listening to the You Matter in Business podcast. Please follow, share, like, and comment. We would love to hear from you. This podcast is sponsored by Ariel Faith Photography and Enrich Life Coaching. The show notes provide more information on how to contact Ariel and Miriam and any guest speakers who share in our journey together.